welcome to part 3 of the Pro Stock Hemi build. And I hope you enjoy this. This is the last section of video we have on this build series before we start actually playing with the engine and planning a dyno day. I really hope you've enjoyed the series up so far. And if you haven't seen part 1 or 2, please go watch them. This whole video would have been an hour and 30 minutes long. I've split it up into 3 parts. They're going to be released consecutively in order. And it all leads up to this moment. At the end of this video, you will hear this behemoth run. But please don't skip to the end. Please endure and watch the grueling pain that I had to suffer through to be able to hear this engine in person. So, please enjoy part 3. I really hope you do enjoy it. And hope you guys stick around for more Pro Stock Hemi fun and all the other crazy stuff my dad and I get into with vans and chargers and all sorts of crazy stuff. So, enjoy part 3. Okay, so that's kind of what I was thinking with the coils. They're hitting, those chrome covers are a little bit long by about 3/16 of an inch. I can maybe trim those because right now the covers are actually hitting the alternator, and so I'll probably trim those covers because they're quite a bit long. And the brand on those coils is what I supposedly have to run with an MSD7, and I'm not about advertising for that company. And if you can't tell, yeah. So that's kind of what I'm thinking right there. I think that's the package I like. Oh God, that didn't come out right. Moving on. Well, here we are the next day, and I went ahead and did a bunch of work. This is the little control panel piece I think I showed you. Went ahead and cut a 3-inch slot in there so it fit over there. And a little dauber of grease on the bolt heads. Transferred the pattern. And Grandpa's old technique. That worked out pretty good. So this is pretty strong, and you know it's going to be nice because it's at like literally the perfect diagonal angle. We'll have a gauge here for water, gauge here for oil, and then we'll have like a master kill switch, starter button to spin the engine over. We'll have an ignition switch, water pump, fuel pump. This will be all decked out, and we're going to probably put a little handy throttle somewhere so we can operate the dominator link without having to come over here and whack it yourself. So that'll be all good, but I also don't want all the controls exposed from the back side because it's just plate here. So I'm going to take some of this plate here, and you know, I know this is overkill, but this is what we've got handy, and we're going to cut it to that shape, lay it up there, then I get welded on both sides, and then we'll probably wind up putting something out that way. I don't know if we will or not. It might be easier to leave this open. Might be, yeah, I think we'll leave this part open just because you can access everything. Our gauges will be poking through at a diagonal. I don't know. I'll get this piece cut and we'll get it kind of mocked up, see how it looks, and if we like it, we'll go with it. If not, we'll add something else. Okay. There's that. I had the fusion weld up here, and then I went ahead and went back over my welds. Oh God, that lighting looks terrible. So now we're gonna come over here, we're gonna make a plate for this side, and we'll get that welded on. And yeah, it probably didn't need to be fully welded, but oh well, that's how I do things. And once that's braced in there, that should be really strong. I mean, it didn't need this. This is just for a cover, and it's the steel we got, so make do with it. So I'll get the other piece cut, weld it on, and then we'll start doing gauges and switches and all that other fun jazz. Okay, so there's that side, and bam, that side. Had to do a little cutout right there for the bell housing. And this time I literally just turned the heat up and just melted that one in. I'm not really going for super pretty. This will be painted black when it's done anyways, and there's gonna be so much stuff going on top. I don't, maybe you're gawking at the welds and you're judging me on my welds. Look at Dad's and you feel a lot better because his are way better. Man, oh man, look at that Hemi. And let me tell you something, I hate hole saws. I don't know why they even exist. They're such a pain in the butt, but we got them. A little bit of movement there, not a big deal. That one's a little bigger, but there's our gauges. So these come with these are like 2 5/8 are the big gauges. They come with the different rings, a silver ring and a black ring. I think for the purposes of this stand, we're just gonna leave the shiny stuff hanging out. Like I said, we're gonna have all of our little switches over here, and they'll be labeled what they do. And then, yeah, looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, I'm gonna put these back in their box because even though these are Jegs brand, these are not cheap gauges. These are really nice too. I like these things. Like I said, these were originally going to be for the duster, but yeah, well, snooze you lose, duster. It took too long to get together. All right, back to work. All right, so here's your progress update. Headers are test fitted. Those are my B&E body good hooker super comp headers for Hemi. Those are what I always plan on putting on a street Hemi if I built one for Jezebel or whoever. But they look a lot nicer than my other ones, so those will get cleaned up and painted up nice. Show you all the progress I've made. We got the proper belt for that guy, and just for record, that is 17270 part number. That's a Topcock gold. Coils are mounted exactly how I wanted them. Let's see, the other header is on too. We got that other header mounted yesterday, and then I went ahead and got my spare starter. It's Jezebel spare starter on here just to make sure it clears. We got this heat shield from Jegs because it's really close to that tube. It ain't touching, but it's really close. These headers clear all the oil lines beautifully. The other headers did not. So this is the battery we're going to be using on this. I know it's huge, it's overkill. It's 12 volt though, but it'll have us plenty of juice, and it's probably going to get mounted right behind this in that space right there. The fuel cell is going to be up in front. See, I got a radiator ordered from Jegs for a little A body. Actually, it's kind of funny. I was looking for something really small and found the perfect dimensions on a radiator for a early A body. So that's going to go on the front of this with an electric fan. I hate electric fans, but you won't be able to hear that thing over this monstrosity. So all right, we're going to work on the gauge panel probably here in a little bit. I want to see if we can maybe get this thing just to where it'd be crankable and get a bunch done. Dad just got home. We're going to let him relax for a little bit, and he wants to come out and do some wiring. We're going to put him to work. Okay, well, we're back, and we're here to do some updates. It's Saturday, so Dad's home. He's doing some electrical genius work, and I'm building a battery tray. Decided to instead of overcomplicating with angle iron and building an actual battery box, why not just put a flat plate across the bottom of it, put the battery right there in the middle. It keeps it away from the heat and allows the battery cable to run. So there's a couple or battery. So we're working on that, and I'll show you Dad's a little panel he's working on, getting ready to mount Jezebel's actual original starter relay. That's the idea right there. You know, you get boogie 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 noise. So that'll be working out pretty good. So now we're going to put the MSD box on this side of the panel, just like so. So that way you can read all your wiring diagram and stuff. We got to work on that, get that mounted. And that's going to power the two coils to power the twin distributors. That'll be fun to do. Not too big of a deal. So, all right, there's your update. We're going to get back to work. What says you did? Good enough. Continuing with the never-ending updates. Still waiting on fuel line stuff. Wiring is still going on. Extended the wires for the electric Moroso water pump out to the back. Yeah, figure out that GM style one-wire mini alternator. Get that ran back here. And Dad, of course, is still doing his ever awesome assembly line work of making a shitload of wires. So, say something nice, Dad. He'll need it. He's gonna go crazy. As you can see, the man of few words.
Mass production.
Mass production.
When you buy a lighted switch, it means you gotta run a ground wire, you gotta run power to it, you gotta run your accessory.
It just doesn't magically light up on its own. Okay, so we're ready to show this off. Since Dad gets that battery cable on, we sauced her with some oil. Got both the caps off so people can see the distributors working. They're all tightened down, all phased in correctly, so now they can get out of phase. But nothing but just get it back on TDC. There are no spark plugs in this engine yet. If it cranks over, doesn't burn to the ground immediately, we'll probably run 16 spark plugs into this thing just to hear it crank with compression and see if that starter can actually handle anything. It's supposed to be one of the best Power Master starters you can get. It's actually the spare for Jezebel, but time will tell. So let Dad get that on there and we'll crank her here in a second. All right, Dad, you're in control of the electrical here.
They're just cigarettes.
That's, yeah. Okay, Take 5. All right, Dad's lighting up with some courage. Here we go. I don't see any smoke rolling, other than the cigarette.
It's getting hot.
Well, hit that button. Wow. Do it again.
Keep going.
Yeah, I gotta see all this stuff working. Wow, you gotta feel the air coming off of that. Wow.
That might be my Hemi.
Yeah. Here, do that again from the front side. It's pumping the spark plug out. It's funny. Okay, so
Try your water pump.
yeah, see if the water pump kicks on. Look at that! It works.
Oh, light switches ain't lighting up.
That one is.
That one did.
That one is. That one is. They're all lighting up.
Oh, okay.
They're just dim because it's probably too bright out. Okay, wow, that all works. That's amazing. So you want to run some spark plugs in her and see if the starter can handle her?
We can try.
All right. Okay, so there are 16 random spark plugs ran in these holes. Hopefully, none of them run right into the dang pistons. Should all be about right. So, Dad, ever hell. It handles it just fine. Now, little starter will handle 13.5 to 1 or whatever this engine is.
Yeah. How much oil you got in it? 4 quarts?
Yeah, it ain't nowhere near enough. You want me to dump some more oil in her? Okay. Alrighty, so we're pretty much well done and good for now. We have oil pressure. It's actually moving the gauge. We have oil in said line. We have clean oil. It pumps oil like a mofo on this side of the engine, which is pretty normal. This is normally the side you bush. So I have not taken the valve covers back off. I actually like them being kind of sealed up with the spark plug tubes actually in there. I got to get one more set of spark plug tubes. I got one brand new set and some dirty old ones I can clean up, but probably just get one more set of brand new ones. Distributors, I got to get these rephased. They're both fine where they are, but just getting the rotor facing the right direction. Dad, you want to just bump it around? I just want to get it back close to TDC. Just a tiny bump. Well, 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 here is one heck of an update for you, because the last time you saw this engine was when it was sitting on the run stand, or not the run stand, but the actual engine stand, and now it's on this homemade engine stand which you saw us fabricate, and just got a bunch of things set up on here currently for mock-up. Finally got the intake holes filed to where they'll fit. That's what you got to do on a Hemi. You can't mill the intake to make it fit the heads and the block. You have to actually file these holes and slot them, because the hole always stays right here. Doesn't matter if the intake sits up here or sits down there, doesn't matter. That hole is always right where it is, so you've got to make the intake fit by filing those holes out into an oval shape. And most guys, it looks pretty janky when they get done. I used my rasp, and it's been, I probably got a couple hours in just filing. But now it's ready to glue on. So, and by glue on I mean pick this up. And I was wanting to weigh this thing for you guys, because this thing weighs maybe 9 pounds, maybe, being made of magnesium, but it's just not going to happen. I don't have a scale, and those little bathroom scales aren't very accurate at those low weights. And there's an aluminum one that weighs about twice as much as that mag one, only because also this one is all cut away. So I've got a plexiglass valley tray, and now I've got to very carefully clean all this up so I can glue it in and bolt it down, and of course Loctite all the bolts in, and that will be done. And that means Dominator's on for good, linkage on for good, start making the fuel lines, and then that means we can get the radiator mounted, which we got from Jegs right there with the electric fan that I just got to run. I got to get over it. We're going to mount the radiator down low. We're going to put all the fuel system set back in here probably. I got a Holly Blue pump that we used for lots of years. And a regulator. We got everything set up, well, everything acquired. So I'm going to get to work on that, get the intake glue down. It won't be long before you guys can maybe hear this thing run. Maybe. I don't know. Dad's still playing with wires. Alright, so here's your update for the day. Haven't filmed nothing today. That's kind of the plan. Just mostly boring stuff. Wired up the 2 coils as I was instructed by a man who actually runs this setup in a Dart with an MSD7 AL2. So each coil has its own wires running to the MSD7. Another thing you could do, you shouldn't do, is you can just run a jumper wire, but this is the better way of doing it. Having 2 separate leads running out there. Extended the harnesses for the electronic ignition because those got to run back to the MSD box. The coils are already hooked up, as you can see. 2 wires going to that terminal, 2 wires going to that terminal. This box has plenty of juice to power the 2 coils. Not a problem at all with that. I know it works in practicality. I know a guy who's done it. Oh yeah, intake is glued on, by the way. Had a small issue with this not sealing real good, so I had to slather some silicone there. I'm not proud of that, but it's in there. But intake's mounted, and tomorrow I'll probably start. I'm gonna finish the wiring here for the ignition system, and then I'm gonna set up the tunnel ram linkage, start building fuel lines. We know what we need to do to mount the radiator down low. We're gonna hard line most of it to the radiator down in the corner. Then the fuel system will be on that side running across, and then the main fuel feed will come up this side of the engine and feed to the 2 dominators. And the last thing we're going to do is literally spark plug wires, which that won't be too long away. So there's your update, and she is slowly coming along. Welcome back, guys and gals. So the distributors are all now wired and plumbed, the coils, and this is a temporary setup to test if we got spark on both spark plugs at the exact same time. We should be on number 1 here, number 1 here too. Might be a little bit off from having the distributors out. So spark plugs are all in the engine, so it's going to crank a little bit slower than it should, even though it's got that high torque mini starter. So I'm going to set you up right here. I don't know how well it's going to pick up because of the light. Ignition is on. Get this guy where you can see him a little bit better. Make sure we're grounded pretty good here. Okay, I cannot focus on the spark plugs at the exact same time because I got to focus on one or the other. So now I'll be able to watch the footage, make sure they're both firing at the same time. If not, we got to tweak the distributors a little bit, but I do know they're both firing at least. And there's our wiring, just trying to keep it as clean as possible. This guy needs to probably go up underneath, and that's our main ignition power there. But that's freaking cool. They both work. MSD, guess what? This is the big middle finger to you saying this wouldn't work, because it does work. Alright, for my Facebook friends, and maybe Instagram, probably not. Pro Stock twin plug Hemi setup on, it's mocked up for spark test. Let's do it. Number 1 on A, number 1 on B. Ignition. And they said, and by they I mean MSD, said it couldn't be done. Fuck you, MSD. Alrighty, guys and gals, so now we know we have sparks, and now we get to actually start working on everything else. So we got to plumb out a fuel system, we've got to build out the lines. I actually today will be setting up the tunnel ram linkage, and I just got this giant package from Jegs with another set of spark plug tubes. I need 16 of them, brand new ones, so I got those. I got a fuel pump clamp here, a bunch of miscellaneous fittings to hopefully plumb the whole fuel system. And these are literally all 100% Jegs fittings, their hose, and I've never really had an issue out of Jegs lines at all, actually, other than that one set of fuel fittings I got that were kind of messed up, but I was able to make them work. I wasn't happy about filing on my float bowl, but I got it. So here's our little fuel cell like we've been talking about. This is the guy. So I'm going to start mocking up this fuel system, see if it's going to work how I envisioned in my head, and we'll show you more. Alrighty guys, so spark plugs are laid out. I've got them all gapped. And to show you our cooling system kind of mocked up, this will be sitting a little more vertical, and that's where we'll fill from. If we want to put an overflow, we can. I know, sorry about the lighting, but yeah, so that hose runs down to a hard line, and we might actually take this to our local exhaust shop, James Automotive, and have them actually hard bend this 90 right here, so that way this is all one solid piece leading to this rubber coupling. And then down here, same thing, except for this one's fine because it just comes up to this 45 and it adapts to 1 3/4, where this is all 1.5 inches. This bends a little tight, but I think it'll be fine. If we go down and get this piece done in hardline, I'll probably have Kevin redo this piece, maybe put a little bend in it. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Not worried about that right now. That's a mock-up. So all the spark plugs are here. I got my local Advanced Auto brought all those in for the Hemi. Also, Jegs had 2 sets of these brand new Mobile Performance spark plug tubes for Hemi and O-rings, because when you run a 16 plug Hemi, you need 2 sets of those, and all of mine are basically just blown out. What happens is guys over tighten them and they blow out this ring here, and then this is just completely open and that doesn't seal up right. So got a whole 2 new sets of those, brand new. So I'm going to pull all the spark plugs and all the tubes out. We're going to toss those in a bin for mock-up and other crap. I'm going to get all those put in, and you know, and then we just got to plumb out the fuel system, and then this thing's ready to make noise. Oh yeah. Thank you all for sticking with us. Oh, and I got to make the actual fuel lines up here. By the way, tunnel ram setup is set up. It's done. Made a little spacer right there. This is an Enderly kit. Guy on eBay sells these. I bought out all of his Mopar ones. I don't know if he has any left. It's Barnett Racing on eBay. And they're only $100. You buy the wine kit, it's $200. So look him up. Okay, guys, I had to take a minute to recompose myself. I needed like at least 10 minutes with a towel alone with some tea. Had to go get a cigar because I just had the truest orgasm a car guy can ever have. And I apologize for not having the camera going. It's just one of those things you get in the moment. It was amazing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a set of earmuffs there that I didn't even need. And there's a set of 8 spark plug wires on this Hemi. And I just wanted to hear it pop. I just wanted to hear it gurgle to see if we actually had oil pressure, because our Myladin pump is leaking a little bit down there, as you can see. And we finally, and actually we are firing on the B distributor, not the A. The A's unhooked completely. And it's got 93 in it, and it didn't ping. The gear drive was the most amazing sound. It wasn't your typical gear drive sound. It was so freaking cool sounding. And words don't even begin to make sense. I don't know. There's freaking oil in the valley. Oil pressure gauge winged over to like 100, then it settled down at 80. So it's got killer oil pressure. Water stayed right where it is because it ain't got no water yet. This is the motivation a man needs to finish the cooling system, to do all the fuel lines. It's just, oh my God, you have no idea. So, as an apology to everybody in YouTube world, we are going to do this again. We know it'll pop right off now. All the bugs are worked out. We got it timed fairly well. And we're going to put some more gas in the bowls and then light it off for you guys. Dad, I have the same boner shit in my pants feeling my pants right now. I'm giddy. I love hearing that gear drive.
That makes sound good, doesn't
Oh yeah. Oh! Alright, Dad. Look, there's no way we'll ever get that again. And plus, that camera's right there. You gotta stand, you know. Man, I can't wait to see the engine running from the front side. Oh, that is amazing. Woo! That thing is snappy. That throttle and everything.
it? Like hat.
I know. Pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, there's your Pro Stock Hemi build video. Sorry guys, it's not the whole thing, but you don't need to see us doing all the wiring to the electric fan and finish the cooling and the fuel system. I mean, it's all straightforward. And I definitely appreciate anybody who stuck around this long, and I can promise you the next time you see this thing, well, maybe not the next time, but you're going to see this thing firing both distributors, and in the future we're taking this thing to the dyno to see what it does with just one distributor hooked up like it is right now, and then we're going to also plug in the secondary distributor and we're going to fire it both ways and see what the real gains are, because the real gain with the twin distributors, even wired like this, there's a lot of naysayers out there with the single box. I've proved that it fires on both exactly the same, is that you actually can run less timing. So if we're running at like 43 degrees right now, in theory we can run 26. And when you can run less timing, it's better for the engine, healthier. And the more spark energy in the chamber means the more fuel you can burn. And the way the spark plugs are situated in these chambers is they're perfect. So we get a clean burn all the time. Of course, this is just a regular Hemi right now.
But you got 8 misfires.
Yeah, well, they're not even hooked up, so they're just plugging the holes. So this is amazing. You know how long it's been since I've had just this block and these heads laying around and just gathering all these parts, and all these years culminating, gathering skills and everything else. This engine would not have been possible without buying a lathe, teaching myself how to use it, having great mentors and all the great friends. This engine means more to me than any car or material possession a man can own, because this is not just an engine to me. This is friendships I have forged, and this engine truly shows off what a person is capable of when they are determined. You know, my dad and I, we made that second distributor. That was just us, 100%. And if we can do it, anybody else can do it. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't let people tell you it's not possible or it's stupid. It ain't worth it. Because if you believe in something, you can accomplish it. Anyways, now I got a bunch of work to do, so I'm off my soapbox. So, as always, guys and gals, thank you for checking this out. And I look forward to seeing you guys the next time we do a video. So as always, take care, and Dad says bye-bye. He's way in the other corner garage. Bye-bye.